Hello students, welcome to online classes of Sri Mahavir International School, Kishangarh Renwal. I hope you all are well at your home. Today we will discuss again the chapter number 4, the Mughal Empire. And we have discussed some points, some facts in previous video. We have discussed that Mughal was the descendant of the Genghis Khan, the ruler of Mongol, of China tribe and Central Asia in mother's side, and in father's side they were the generation descendants of Timur. And then after we have discussed about the facts of Babur, Humayun, Akbar, and the policy of Akbar's expansions. And we have discussed some battle about the battle of Haldigati and the relation between the Akbar and Rajput in previous video. Today we will discuss about Jahangir. Jahangir, the son of Akbar, came to be throne after Akbar's death in 1605 CE. It means Jahangir became the Mughal emperor in 1605 after the death of Akbar. He was known for his impartial justice to his people irrespective of their religious faith, and the Jahangir was known for the justice system. He developed very well justice system. He continued Akbar's policy and earned respect from all spheres of the society. Mughal rule under Jahangir was noted for political stability, brisk economic activity, beautiful paintings, and monumental buildings. And Jahangir also set up many buildings, many paintings, and it means the Jahangir developed the art and architecture style. By the beginning of the 17th century, the Mughal Empire had acquired unparalleled military strength and economic prosperity. Jahangir region was, however, marked by several revolts. It means in Jahangir period there were many revolts. Guru Arjan Dev was martyred during this period. It means the Guru, the Guru of Sikh religion, Guru Arjan Dev, was also martyred during this period, thus alerting the Sikh community. Even Jahangir's son Prince Khurram rebelled against him in the last year of his reign, and the son of the Jahangir, Khurram, also revolted against the Jahangir. During Jahangir time, European traders had started coming to India, and the British company and sending their merchants to India during the Jahangir period. In 1608, Captain William Hawkins, a representative of the East India Company, came to Jahangir's court. The first ambassador to the Mughal court was the Sir Thomas Roe, who came in 1615. First time the William Hawkins came to Jahangir's court in 1608, and Sir Thomas Roe that came Mughal's court in 1615. He was able to secure many trading facilities for the British traders, and the first English trading post was established at Surat. Or during Jahangir period, Sir Thomas Roe granted the permission from Jahangir to establish their trading company, and first time East India Company set up their first trading company at Surat. Next ruler, Shahjahan. After his father's death, Shahjahan or Prince Khurram ascended the throne in 1628. It means in 1628, Shahjahan became the Mughal emperor. He faced two major revolts during the early part of his rule by Khan Jah Lodi and by Jujar Singh of Bundelkhand. It means in the early period he faced two revolts by Kanja Lodi and Jujar Singh that ruled in Bundelkhand. There was famine and plague in large part of Gujarat, Khandesh, Deccan, in which thousands of people died, and during the period of Sanja there was disease also like plague, and there was also famine. That's why a thousand people were died during the Sanja period. Abul Hamid Lahori described in his accounts the strategy adopted by Shahjahan to control situation of famine and plague. The Nizam Shahi dynasty of Ahmednagar was brought under Mughal control by Shahjahan. The Deccan Sultanate of Bijapur and Golconda accepted his supremacy in 1636. It meant Shahjahan controlled the Bijapur and Golconda. He reconquered Kandahar in 1638 and routed the Uzbeks at Balkan in 1647. He also annexed the region of Kamaruppa in Assam, and Shahjahan shifted the capital of the Mughal Empire from Agra to Delhi and ruled from the Red Fort Lal Killa. These are the main facts of the Shahjahan, that Shahjahan controlled the Ahmednagar, Bijapur, Golconda, and he also the shipped the capital from Agra to Delhi and started ruling from Delhi or Red Fort or Lal Killa. Next ruler, Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb, the next Mughal ruler, had three rival brothers, so his ascension to the throne was not smooth. He killed his brothers, imprisoned his father Shahjahan, and crowned himself at Delhi, assuming the title of Alamgir. Shahjahan killed their three brothers, and he also sent their father, his father, to the jail. And then, after he became the Mughal emperor, and he got the title Alamgir. He ruled for 50 years till his death in Feb 1707 in Ahmednagar, and Aurangzeb was died in 1707 in Ahmednagar. During his reign, Aurangzeb was able to annex Bijapur and Golconda. Aurangzeb also annexed the Golconda and Bijapur in the Mughal Empire. The last 26 years of his life were full of conflict in the Deccan and North India. Under his rule, the border of the Mughal Empire spread out further than ever before, but it was difficult to hold the empire together. He had to face rebellion from the Marathas under Shivaji, the Sikhs, Chars, and the Satnamis. It means during the Aurangzeb period, the Marathas, Sikhs, Jats, and Satnamis they revolted against the Aurangzeb. Though he ruled longer than any of the predecessors, he could not stop the decline of the Mughal Empire. A war of succession also followed his death. Aurangzeb though gave many grants for the restoration of Hindu temples, but he was also famous for his tyranny against the Hindu. It means he adopted the policy against the Hindu. He reintroduced jizya or a tax. Jizya was a tax on the Hindus and demolished many temples. It means he destroyed many Hindu temples, especially in politically volatile regions. These were the main Mughal rulers: first Babur, second Humayun, third Akbar, Jahangir, Shahjahan, and Aurangzeb. Now we will discuss about the Mughal administration. Babur and Humayun could not concentrate on establishing a defined system or pattern in administration. By the end of Akbar's reign, we find the establishment of elaborate offices with specialized functions assigned to the heads of offices. The appointment, promotion, and termination of these officials were subject to the ruler's personal preference and whims. It means during the period of Babur and Humayun, there were not a proper administrative system, but during the Akbar period, there were a proper administrative system. Akbar appoint many officials, he appoint many offices, and he controlled the administrative system for their whims. Now, administrative system. The office of the Diwan was stand under Akbar. It means the Diwan was extended by the Akbar. The chief Diwan or Diwan-e-Kul was made responsible for revenue and finance. And who was Diwan? Diwan was the made responsible. It means the main function of the Diwan was for revenue and finance related. His primary duty was to supervise the imperial treasury and to check all accounts. This was the main duty of the Diwan, that supervised the imperial treasury and the check all accounts. The entire revenue collection and expenditure machinery of the empire was under his charge. To check the Diwan's power, the Mughal emperor would ask the Diwan to submit a report on state finance daily, and to control the power of Diwan, there is a compulsory that the Diwans will submit a report on state finance daily. Next, the Mir Bakshi was in charge of the military. Mir Bakshi was the main head of the military. He passed all order of appointment of Mansabdar, and their salary papers were endorsed by him. He personally supervised the branding of the horse called Dag, or the check the master roll called Chehra of the soldiers. And the main function of the Mir Bakshi was to branding the horse, that system is known as Dag, and check the master roll, and their system was known Chehra. He was assisted by other Bakshis. The Mir Saman was the officer in charge of royal Karkhana, who supervised the purchase of all kinds of articles and their storage for royal household, and the manufacture of different articles, be it weapons of war or articles of luxury. The Sadr us Sudar protest the law of Shariat, while the head of the judiciary was known as Qazi ul Qujjat. These were the main officers in the Mughal administration. The governor of a Subedar was directly appointed by the emperor, and the governor that were known as Suba or Subedar. They also appointed by emperor. Usually the tenure of a Subedar was around 3 years. I mean, approximately the time period of a Subedar was 3 years. He looked after the welfare of the people and the army and maintained law and order in the Suba. And the main function of the Subedar was to welfare of the people and the army and maintain law and order in a Suba. He was assisted by Bakshi, the military paymaster, the minister in charge of religious and charitable patronage, southern military commanders or Fauzdar, and the town police commander means Kotwal. The finance were taken care of by the Diwan at the central level. Thus, the Mughals kept a watch over their officials in the provinces through offices and institutions independent on each other. Besides, the Mughal rulers frequent visits to every Suba, and the system of frequent transfer of the official after a period of 3 years on average helped the Mughals in checking of the official. It means the main officers they visit their Suba, and after 3 years, they transferred the Subedar into the in other part. The Mughal Empire in crisis, the revenue extraction from the peasantry on such a wide scale provided the Mughal Empire with a rich treasury. It means the Mughal Empire has a lot of wealth. These resources helped to emperor to carry out campaign to distant region and build beautiful monuments. And by this strategy, the Mughal emperor used to build a beautiful monument and other development. The Mughal emperor and their Mansabdar also spent a major part of their income on salaries and goods, and the Mughal emperor and Mansabdar also spent the wealth or the income on the salary and goods or product. This expenditure benefited the artisan and peasantry who supplied the Mansabdar with goods and produce, but the scale of revenue collection left very little in the hand of the peasant and the artisan. They could hardly save money to invest in buying tools to increase productivity. But the this system helped the artisan and peasantry and they produce goods and produce, but the collection was very little. During the region of Aurangzeb, due to the increasing financial strain of the Deccan Wars and dislocation of administration, the Jagirdari system began to lose its efficiency. It means during the Aurangzeb period, the most of expenditure were in the wars, and that's why the Jagidar system began to the loss of efficiency. A large number of nobles from Deccan were given mansab by Aurangzeb, which created a crisis of Jagir land. As a result of this crisis, the Jagirdar began to extract revenue from the peasantry to the maximum because they knew that the Jagir given to them could be for a very short period of time. It means when Jagirdar get Jagir, they started extract lot of wealth from the Jagirs because they know कि that Jagir was they had only for little time. The fight of the peasants from land was the first symptom of this growing crisis, which later on simplified into violence and armed uprising. Jats, Satnamis, Sikhs, Maratha, and others revolted in the northern India against the Mughal Empire, and the Jagirdari system started disconnection with Mughal Emperor, and some groups started revolted like Marathas, Satnamis, Sikhs, and Jats against the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb. The other reason of decline was that the noble wait for the most profitable Jagirs, leading to corruption. It means next reason for the declining of the Mughal period was the corruption. Factionalism among nobility after Aurangzeb's death was another reason for the decline of the Mughal Empire. Powerful Irani, Turani, Deccani, and Hindustani blocs also developed in the court and wait for power in order to stabilize the central administrative machinery. Nadir Shah invention in 1739 also weakened the Mughal power. And Nadir Shah also attacked in India in 1739 and he looted lot of wealth from India. That's why the Mughal empire is also weak. When the power of the Mughal declined, these Mughal governors emerged as center of power in the region. Although many of them continue to recognize the Mughal emperor in Delhi as their sovereign, they held autonomous command of provinces like Awadh, Hyderabad, etc. By the beginning of the 13th century, by the beginning of the 18th century, the various regional provinces of the Mughal Empire had consolidated their independent political identity, and by the 18th century, the some regional powers they declare themselves as a independent kingdom and they separate them from the Mughal emperor. I hope, dear student, you have understand the chapter, and now you will do the question answer of this chapter in your SST notebook. Question number A, question number B, and question number C or D. You will fill in your book, and question number E, F, and G. You will do all answer in your SST notebook. And thank you. Have a nice day.